Good morning from icy East Sussex. Don't know if you can see it outside, but it's very, very cold. Maybe it'll snow, it'll probably rain. Anyway, today I'm going to be rounding some text blocks, so I thought I would share the process with you. And to begin with, I want to show you a couple of examples of a rounded and a flat back text block, so you know the difference. So this beautiful book is one of my favourite in my collection, illustrated by Dulac, is a classic example of a rounded book or text block. So you can see that curve around the spine. You can also see, for those who are into conservation, that this has a Melinex sleeve on it, so that's protecting this beautiful cover. And then I have an example of a bit saggy, but this is a flat back. So literally, it's a flat spine. This is quite a weird book, actually. There's some very strange illustrations. It's called 10 Droll Tales. Anyway, I digress. So this is a flat back, and this is a rounded text block. So today I'm just going to show you a simple process of rounding text block. So before I round the text block, I need to tip on my end papers. So I'll just remind some of my students out there how to tip on the end papers. So I'm starting with a pre-sewn A6 text block that's been sewn with a French link stitch here, and it's been glued. I've got a sheet of lovely Hahnemel paper from John Purcell Paper in London. What I need to do is cut 2 folios. To remind you, a folio is quite simply a folded sheet like that. So I need 2 folios for my end papers. So I'm going to cut them slightly larger than the text block, and to measure the amount of paper that I need, I'm just going to use the text block. So I've got the paper lined up with the lines on the grid on the cutting mat, and I've got it weighted down with a small weight made by my friend Maudie. So I'm just going to for each folio, I'm going to do 2 times the width of the text block. I've got my ruler and my blade ready, sort of. There we go. And so I'm going to hold the ruler firmly and just cut, not too aggressively, a couple of times down like that. And then, sorry, I'm sniffing a bit. I'm going to cut second folio. It's very cold, as I said, and I'm thinking about my students and colleagues in Barbados today, and kind of wishing I was there, really. Right, so I now need to cut these sheets down, so I'll turn them round. And I just need slightly taller than the height of the text block. So I've turned this text block around. I'm just going to trim that off. So it's always good to it's not good. It's essential to check the grain direction of your paper before you start working. I know the grain direction of this paper, but the grain of the paper should run in line with the spine. Okay, so just cut my second folio. Right. Then I'm going to use my Teflon folder to create the crease for the folio. Make sure if you have a pattern, the pattern is on the inside of the folio. Right, so I've got the two folios that are going to go on the front and the back for my end papers. Then I need a couple of waste sheets. My dissertation finally came in useful. And what I want to do is just apply glue to a very small area of the spine edge here of my end paper. Now I do this by eye, but you can mark it off if you're a starter, if you're a new starter. So I'm going to use my dividers here to measure 3 millimeters, and then place step the dividers off the edge of the spine edge and just make a little mark, not too, I don't want it to show through. And with a nice sharp pencil, just draw a line. Lightly to show where you're going to, I don't know if you can see that, to apply the glue. And then use your waste paper and cover the whole end paper apart from the bit you want to glue. So you can see that area is just poking, oops, past the, poking out of the waste sheet. Now I've got PVA. If you're in conservation, you'll be using EVA. And I'm just going to slap a bit of that on this area. Immediately get rid of the mucky waste sheets, always do that. And then I'm going to place the first one down on my text block, and I'm going to line it up flush to one corner. So there'll be a bit hanging over, and then just so it'll look like that. Then I'll get my second piece, some fresh waste sheets, and do the same with the other side. Now I'm going to guess with this one because I've done it before. It's very important at this stage to make sure if you have a patterned end paper that they are the right way up. So you need to make some kind of sort of mark to denote which way up those end papers should go on, otherwise you'll end up with one of them upside down. This one it doesn't matter because, oh dear, that was mucky, don't do that. This one doesn't matter because it's plain. So this time I'm going to place my second end paper on the opposite corner on the other side. So it looks like this. And then I'm going to leave it to dry before I trim them flush to the text block. So I've started trimming the end papers. I've done the first edge at the head. So I'm going to move on to the second one. To do this, I'm putting my ruler just inside the last section of the book and butt it up to the spine edge. And I can just see the ruler poking out just a little bit. And then I use my blade. I'm not leaning it to one side. I'm using it straight, and I'm gently going to cut through a couple of times against the ruler through that end paper. Then I'll turn it around, put the ruler inside the last section of the foredge, lifting the end paper, keeping it under my hand here, and then the same again, just a couple of cuts through. Never press too hard with your blade. It's not an effective method for a couple of reasons. Okay, so there, I've got my text block ready with lovely end papers. Okay, so the next bit is one of my favourite techniques in bookbinding. I am going to round the spine. This text block was glued quite a long time ago, so the PVA is going to be very dry. So I need to moisten it first to make it flexible. So I've just got a rag and I'm going to make that wet a little bit. Moist, don't like that word, but anyway. And then just run that damp, that's better, damp rag up and down the spine, just to moisten that adhesive. And then, let's turn this around a bit. I've got my backing hammer. It's not like a normal hammer, it's got sort of curved kind of edge here, curved surface. It's quite a beautiful hammer if you're into tools. So I'm going to lift the first couple of sections. Put fingers underneath and on top, and then gently pull. So the spine edge here comes slightly off the bench, and then I'm going to whack it with a hammer. So I'm not whacking it too hard, just sort of quite gentle blows, just trying to coax the spine around over in this direction. So you can see it's starting to curve. So I've turned it over, I'm going to do the other side. So I've got my fingers underneath and on top, and then I'm pulling, so it's off the bench, and then start to bring it over. So I might have to turn it over and do it again a couple of times. Do one more. So it's a sort of balance of forceful and gentle, if that makes any sense. You don't want to break the text block. You don't want to damage the end paper. You don't want to damage the foredge, so you need to be just careful all round. Okay, so that looks nice. That's a nice rounded spine, maybe a little bit more over here. Okay, so here we can see it's a rounded spine, and you've got this lovely curve in the foredge. Now the next process would be If this was a really fancy binding, we would do the backing, where we would create shoulders that you might have seen on older books. But we're not doing that. We're just doing the rounded spine today. So I hope that was insightful. Thank you for watching.